one of the fastest growing cities, not just in North Texas, not just in Texas, but in the United States, has just shut down new construction housing. This might be a little bit of a big deal. Maybe it's nothing. I don't know. Maybe it's something. I think we should definitely be talking about it because I think it will have some massive implications for you, especially if you're considering making a new home purchase here in the North Texas area, like between now and the end of 2024, or even really rolling into 2025 and beyond. So if we haven't met before, my name is Zach. My team and I, we sell new construction real estate here in DFW. So we're here to educate and empower and help any way that we can. And we want to help you get into brand new homes, whether you're building from the ground up or you're buying off builders inventory. We're here to help. Contact information is right there if you need us. But this one city, you may not be able to buy brand new homes in if you don't do something now. So the third fastest growing city in the United States, like I said, not just in North Texas, because we have massive amounts of growth here, not in Texas in general, because everybody's coming here, but in the United States, third fastest growing city has put a 120-day moratorium on new build residential new construction permits for starts. And so I've been hiding it long enough. If you haven't read the articles, or if you're not from around here, this city that is shutting all of their new construction down is Princeton. So today I want to kind of talk about, hey, what this means, why this is probably happening, and if it's a good thing, if it's a bad thing. And of course, I want to show you, hey, if you still want to get in, there is still new homes on the ground that are working. There's just not going to be any new ones starting after, today, basically. So here's what's going on. Princeton, which if you don't know, maybe I should, let's start there. Let me show you where Princeton is, because maybe you're watching this from outside DFW and you're like, let's take our map and let's do the starting point there. So here's the whole of DFW, right? DFW is rapidly expanding. And so if we're looking for Princeton, we're going to zoom in, we're going to kind of come to the north, and nope, not that. We're going to zip, come back out here. And this is Princeton. So to the east of McKinney, to the north of Lake Lavon, Wiley area, running up kind of out toward Melissa and Anna. This is where a lot of the growth is happening in DFW. And I'm just going to be honest with you, this is 380, and 380, in my opinion, is a flippin' nightmare. So I kind of understand why the city council is maybe saying, hey, wait a minute, let's put a stop on new construction buildings. So you can even see, like, it's we got all kinds of traffic going on. So 380 basically runs across the northern part of the metroplex, and then it crosses 75, and then of course it runs all the way across, caps the Dallas North Tollway, and then runs into Little Elm, Aubrey, Prosper. All of this area is booming, and so every time without fail that I drive up here on 380, like, there is tons of traffic, but everything is growing all along this 380 corridor thing. But specifically Princeton, this area is, all of it along 380, but Princeton in particular is what we're talking about. And they have seen some massive growth over the last couple of years. Like to this point, I want to show you what we're talking about. So, here's what the mayor said. This is back in May of 2024. It says Princeton is a unicorn of a city amongst Collin County, and they're having rapid growth. I don't know if that makes them a unicorn, but because everything in Collin County is growing. And it says the population grew by 22% in 2023, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. And then in 2005, crazy to think about, 2005, there was a population of less than 4,200 people. And as of last year, that had grown to 28,000. And it's probably actually more than that, because we know not everybody responds to the census. And then again, this is continuing to grow. And then by the year 2039, they are expecting to reach 110,000 people. And so it's like, growth like this needs to be managed purposefully and was not fully anticipated. And so that was in May that this article comes out that they said, hey, yeah, this was not fully anticipated. Well, then at the end of September, this article came out that they were putting a 120-day pause on new build permits. So now before we get into this, let me clarify what this means. So obviously the developer comes in years ago and proposes these plans to the city and says, hey, we want to take this piece of land and here's what we want to do with it. We're turning it into 500 houses and it's going to be called the Meadows of, Yellow Brick Road or whatever they want to call it, right? Those plans get submitted to the city and then the city says, yep, nope, we're good. You can do this, or hey, no, we want changes, based on the planning and zoning, based on the commercial use, based on the mixed use, whatever, right? So then they approve that, and then the developer starts, cutting in dirt, cutting in roads, putting in amenities, and then they start selling those lots to builders. And so builders come in and start buying positions in those neighborhoods, and then in order to start building they have to submit plans, drawings, and all that stuff to the city, like for planning and zoning, and get those approved, then pull permits. So any permits that the city has already issued, they're going to keep. So if Trophy or Pacesetter or Meritage or whoever has those permits in hand, they can still build those homes. The challenge they have right now is that they cannot get any new permits for 120 days. So let's go back to the article and just kind of see what that says. Putting a temporary stop to its rapid growth. During their meeting last Monday night, they passed an official moratorium, which is a legal measure that blocks new permits for residential buildings for 120 days. So depending on when you're seeing this video, that block carries them through the end of 2024 into probably, I think it's like the end of January 2025. I don't know if they're going to extend it, but this is kind of where we're at right now. It says, it's become clear that we're growing much faster than we anticipated or planned for. That's obvious because, again, we grew to 28,000 people from 2005 to 2024. So same data quote that we read earlier. More than 28,000 residents. Last year, Princeton was named the third fastest growing in the city after its population rose by 22%. That's nuts. Can we just be honest? Like, I read an article earlier this year that said something like 1,000 people a day are moving into the DFW market. And I believe that because I have conversations with you guys every single day about people who are like, Zach, we're trying to get to DFW. My job's moving us here, or we're moving here. Or so you have all of these people moving into DFW, and then you have all of us that are already here. And I get it. Some of you that are in DFW, you're going to comment underneath my video and you'll be like, stop moving here. Texas is closed. And it's like, guys, we're the friendly state. Let's welcome people. Just remember why you came. That's all I'm going to say. And if you remember why you came, you're welcome to be here. But I get it. Y'all are going to be down in the comments. You're like, we're closed. There's too much building going on. And I know what else is going to happen. Some people are going to be like, well, yeah, this city should do that. And this city should do that. We should stop building. We should stop doing this. We have a shortage of homes. Let's just leave it at that. We have a shortage of homes. Builders need to continue building, not just here in North Texas, but in general. Like, we have a shortage. So they can't stop. So let's go back to the article. So he says, it became clear that we were growing much faster than we anticipated or we planned for. Population grew by 22%. The city of Princeton says the utilities haven't kept up with this growth, and the water, the wastewater, and the roadway infrastructure is operating at near or beyond capacity. I probably could attest to that. With the moratorium, we're looking to build us a little bit of breathing room, sometime to reevaluate how we're growing, where we're growing, and how we're going to continue to grow into the future. I don't know that 120 days is going to be enough to do this. I mean, if you've spent any time around the government, they're not efficient. So I don't know what's going to happen in 120 days. I don't know how much they think they're going to accomplish. And then add that in with, road construction and infrastructure. I don't know what 120 days buys you long term. I'm just being honest. So let's keep going. So they're going to use the next 4 months to draft new zoning, subdivision, and roadway plans to manage the growth. It says, but utilities aren't the only issue. Police department says they need an additional 30 officers to meet the demand. We've been extremely busy. We need the budget. We have the budget. We just need to get everybody hired and trained. It says the motion for the residential moratorium passed the city council unanimously. Some people said it would believe Princeton would give them the best chance to succeed in the coming years. They imagine it'll calm it down, but we'll see. And this is under Texas law. The moratorium won't affect residential projects that are already in progress. I mentioned this earlier, anyone who believes their project should be allowed to get a permit can apply for a waiver if you're doing something special, or you think you're whatever, that you deserve to be special. I want to go back to this other article from May, because I think this is interesting too. It says the comprehensive plan we've been operating on was adopted in 2019, was supposed to carry us through 2050, but we have already eclipsed that. It is really wild. And I think wild is an appropriate term for what we're actually talking about. This is one of the concerns of this city, is how they're going to handle the emergency services. We've talked about that. So could be a great place to live, could be a great place to work. What is this actually going to mean for pricing and starts and homes that are on the ground? I honestly don't know. I have an educated guess, and my educated guess is this. So like we were talking about earlier, when developers start projects, these projects were approved years ago. So a house being built in 2024, that project was approved 2, 3, 4, like the development project was approved several years ago. And so the developer came in, bought the land, spent the money on the development cost to put the subdivision together, which is why we get all of these MUDs and PIDs and things like that pass along the taxes to people who buy in those neighborhoods. And then they start selling land to different builders, and these builders come in and they start buying land, and they have the holding cost, right? Well, if they're not able to move those homes, they still have to carry the holding cost of that land, like the cost it took to buy the land and to get the infrastructure ready, to put their salespeople out there, to put their construction supervisors out there. And so if they're not able to start new homes and they're not able to start building, they're still going to incur those holding costs. Who do we think is going to get the bag on that, right? Like, I feel like, and I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, I feel like if they do not figure this out quickly in Princeton, it's going to start to push pricing for what they're building out there up, right? Because as they run out of course, they have all their permits that they can work on that they already have in hand, but as they run out of those permits and they're left sitting on product or sitting on dirt that they cannot move, and they still have all of their holding costs, those builders are going to start passing that along to the consumer. And so when they do have the ability to come back and start building again, I think we're going to see a price increase. How significant? I have no idea. But naturally you see price increases as the development deepens into its further phases, right? So somebody who bought in phase 1 got a way better deal price-wise than somebody who bought in phase 4 or 5 of a particular neighborhood. So when they are allowed to come back, I do think we're going to see a little bit more of a price increase, because these developers are going to be holding, they're going to be left holding the bag, right? And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out if this runs longer than the 120 days. You're thinking like, Zach, what do we do? Is this a good time to buy in Princeton? I'm like, maybe. Have some people that are buying out there right now. We kind of had this conversation, and it's like, on the one hand, you're coming in at a good price and you're getting ahead of we know is going to be the continued growth. On the other hand, we're already seeing the system be constrained a little bit based on the growth that's already happening. So you kind of just have to decide for yourself, hey, what do we think is going to happen with this long term? And if we think it's going to work itself out, we think it's going to be a good buy, and we think we're going to make money, then yeah, let's jump on something now to make a really a purchase. Maybe you're like, we don't really want to do that, we want to go somewhere else. But growth is happening all over DFW, right? So I know we should be like, hey, maybe more cities should do this, and maybe they should. I don't know. Maybe cities should limit the number of permits that come in. I don't know how to solve this problem. I just know we have a shortage of housing. I know that we have more people moving here. We have people that are looking already here that are trying to buy. If we limit, then it becomes an arms race for who can get their stuff in, which then means builders start moving quickly, and then they start cutting corners because they care about profit, because they want to move more homes. So I think there's got to be some sort of checks and balances. I don't know what the answer is, but I don't know that it's this. So with that, let's go take a look at the map and let's see how many new construction homes are actually on the ground right now, to kind of give us a pricing, give us a look, and say, hey, maybe here's who we should consider, here's who we should definitely avoid. So as of the time of recording of this video, builder inventory that is active on MLS. Now this is probably I don't know, 70 to 75% of what's actually out there, because not all builders get 100% of their homes on MLS. But this is a good gauge. So if active, we have 214, so that's probably 75%. So there's, maybe 3 to 350 or more, give or take, on the ground. So you can kind of see where all of this varied growth is happening. Let's just kind of take a look and see who's building in Princeton and what they're building, why they're building it, and who you might want to look at, who you might want to avoid. So let's just kind of come down here. Lennar, freaking avoid it, like straight up avoid it, like a politician avoids doing their job. Even if you were born into a middle-class family, leave it at that. Avoid it. Just freaking avoid it. I wouldn't touch it with. I wouldn't touch it with anything. Okay, so Lennar's got all this stuff down here. Let's zoom in some more and see if we can find anything that's not Lennar. Down 1.2 million. That's pretty. 5,200 square feet on 1 acre at 1.2 million. So we've got everything from what was that over here? So 224, 245, 263 from Lennar to 1.2 million right down there on the lake. Over in this area, let's see, we've got I don't know who that is. It's a smaller builder, so I can't say anything good or bad about them. Syntex. Syntex is a national company. They build a pretty decent home, so this is one I would consider. So 3-bed, 3-bath, 1,600 square feet, 337. I would consider taking a look at Syntex. That's a fair builder to look at. What we got right over here? KB, mid, as the kids say these days. So another KB. KB, is this all KB in this neighborhood? What neighborhood is this? Let's see, Princeton Estates. Okay. Let's see, let's zoom into the neighborhood even further. We'll do one more, see if it's all KB. KB, yeah, mid. What we got on this side? 284. Pacesetter. This is their like duplex series at 284. I would buy from them. If you've been around my channel, I talk a lot about them. We built with them. So they've got some duplex stuff. They've got some actual, 1,700 square feet, 3-bed, 3-bath, 369. I would consider, like I said, quality with them. So yes, I would take a look at them. We did buy from them, and I sell a lot of their stuff. So yes, look at them. What we got up here? MI. I do like MI. I think they have a good starting price, good product for kind of a starter home feel. So 4-bed, 3-bath, 2,700 square feet at 429. That's a steal. So yes on MI. LGI, nope, no shot. Cope, depends on the day. They're a smaller builder. Trophy, another one that I'm kind of a big fan of. They build for what it is for the first time home buyer. I think they build a really great product. It's usually well insulated, well designed. It's kind of got a more of a modern design. They usually have really good incentives. So I think for like, if you're looking at this as like a first time, hey, I'm getting into the market kind of thing, Trophy is usually a good consideration. I think they're going to get hit hard. Them, LGI, KB, all of those, they're going to get hit hard because they do a lot of production builds. And so like for them and Meritage and stuff, they don't sell until they hit a certain stage. So, but yes, I would consider that. And again, 4-bed, 3-bath, 2,164 at 384. That would be something I would take a look at. Pulte, part of the Syntex family. So if I would say yes to Syntex, I would say yes to Pulte. Megatel. Yeah, no, okay. We'll go on from there. Meritage, another one I would look at. So 3,100 square feet, 4-bed, 4-bath, 495. would look at Meritage. Similar to Trophy, you'll see them kind of paired together. So like when you see one, you usually see the other. They've kind of developed a partnership of sorts. Spray foam insulation, very well on energy efficiency, good incentives for buyers. But again, they don't sell until they hit like that certain frame, like past frame stage. But I have had people buy, Meritage, Trophy, Pacesetter, Syntex, Pulte, and we've had good experiences. We've had good time with their customer service. So yes, another one I would look at, like I said, from a first-time home buyer or even like a second home kind of thing. If you're looking at Princeton, they would be on my list as well. And then Meritage again. What we got over here? Meritage, okay. Did we come over here? 934, okay, on an acre, cool. 991, cool. Did I get this one? Meritage, Brightland, not bad. Middle of the road. I think there's better options, but I wouldn't tell you to avoid them. We looked at all the KB, we looked at that one. Did we look up here? Somewhere there's a Starlight community in Princeton. It's like right. Is it over here? Is it this one? LGI, yeah, no shot. Zero chance I like that one. Somewhere there's a Starlight community. That's a subsidiary of AW. I would probably avoid that. I don't know. I mean, my biggest challenge with them is they're freaking the showers. They don't tile their showers. They're those plastic inserts, and it just rubs me the wrong way. And there's Dr. You Know Who somewhere in Princeton. I guarantee you they're out there, and I would probably stay away from that doctor in particular because they ain't got nothing good for you. So that's what's going on in Princeton. So again, you're going to see this number dwindle of like what they have available if they don't figure out long term how to get this the growth under control and build in a sustainable way. Like I said, they just didn't know what was coming and how quickly it was coming, and I understand it. I mean, look, if you look at the why are people moving up there? Well, Collin County, it's the growth corridor. You have relatively low property taxes, even with the MUDs and the PIDs. You have you have a good school district that rates out well, that's growing. Like, we can see why people are moving up there. So I would say if you're looking at Princeton and you're wanting new construction, now might be the time to grab it, because I don't know how much is going to be available at the start of 2025. And builders are always trying to make deals happen, especially now as we push into the last quarter of the year and into the first part of 2025. We're seeing some insane deals happen. I wrote a couple contracts in the last 2 weeks with clients. We pulled 20 or 30 off of list price and still had closing cost money and had a rate buy down. So if you know where to look, you can find those deals. Now, I'm not telling you, we are not miracle workers. We may be able to find a little bit of magic, but you still have to be a little bit realistic. Like, it's not, hey, well, this house is listed for $695. Let's see if they'll give it to us for $400. That's not going to happen. Like that, they're not going to make that kind of deal. But there is opportunity to make something happen if you're realistic and you kind of understand how we can work through that together as a team. So if you need any help, we would love to help. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think is going on in Princeton. Again, I guarantee you, all of you are going to be down there like, every city should stop building and nothing, and new construction sucks and this and that. And yeah, there are some builders that I think are less than ideal, but there are some builders that I think that are super phenomenal. And if you want to know who I think is actually some of the best builders, you should probably check out this playlist right here.